all about reviewing top quality albums by bands with a particular focus on the progressive rock genre. Now, not everyone knows about this band, but it began as a brainchild of Steven Wilson. Porcupine Tree were originally formed as a solo project by Wilson in the late 1980s and steadily grew into a full band during the 90s. But it was this album that helped them break through commercially. It was released in 2002 and it marked a critical point in the band's evolution, as it blended elements of progressive rock with more heavier, metal-inspired sounds that broadened its appeal and solidified the reputation as a band that defied easy categorization. So whilst the overall became heavier, they still retained that intricate and atmospheric elements from their progressive roots. Now, this album was recorded after the band had transitioned to a brand new label, Lava Records, which provided them with greater resources and also an exposure to a wider audience, particularly in the United States. Wilson himself had described the album as a reflection on the darker subject matter, partly inspired by his personal interest in criminal psychology and the human mind's more unsettling aspects. This thematic shift was driven by his growing awareness of the darker side of human nature, often explored through stories of violence, alienation and inner turmoil. Yes. The lyrics frequently grappled with disturbing topics, particularly the way people can hide malevolent tendencies beneath seemingly normal exteriors. It touched on themes of psychological disorder, societal dysfunction, and existential fear. Wilson had mentioned that many of the album's songs were influenced by stories of serial killers and people who lose touch with reality. However, these themes are explored abstractly, hopefully, allowing listeners to find their own meanings in the songs. Now, while his fascination with this darker side of life played a central role in the subject matter, there was also a broader theme of personal introspection and alienation. And it reflected that growing sense of disillusionment with modern life, which resonated deeply with listeners who appreciated its unsettling yet strangely beautiful atmosphere. This was the first album to feature Gavin Harrison on drums, who became a significant addition to Porcupine Tree's lineup. His drumming is often praised for its precision and creativity, adding new depth to the band's evolving sound. The full lineup for the album was Steven Wilson on vocals, guitars, piano and keyboards. Also production, Richard Barbieri on keyboards and synthesizers, Colin Edwin on bass guitar and Gavin Harrison, as we said, on drums and percussion. Now, although the core of the band played the bulk of the music, there were also some guest musicians involved, notably John Wesley, who contributed additional backing vocals and guitar work, and who did become a staple of the band's live performances as well. Also involved, the London Session Orchestra. They provided string arrangements on tracks like Trains and The Sound of Music, enriching the album's dynamic range. Here's a look at the original tracks from the 2002 release, exploring their meaning, style and length. Starting with Blackest Eyes. Now, this is a heavy melodic opener that set the tone for the album. With its contrast of acoustic versions and crushingly heavy choruses, it's a perfect example of the band's progressive metal fusion. The lyrics seem to explore the mind of a disturbed individual, hiding behind a facade of normality, reflecting Wilson's interest in concealed darkness within everyday life. Trains is a mix of acoustic folk elements and powerful electric guitar work. It's one of the album's most accessible tracks, featuring Wilson's intricate fingerpicking. This song, while rooted in nostalgia, hinted at a loss of innocence and childhood memories, possibly as a metaphor for the inevitable change and decay in life. Lips of Ashes is a perhaps more atmospheric and haunting track, marked by its layered vocals and echoing guitar tones. The song's abstract lyrics suggested themes of loss, isolation and yearning, leaving interpretation open to the listener. The Sound of Music is a pop-like structure with a complex time signature, combining catchy melodies with progressive tendencies. It's a critique of modern music industry and its shift towards commodification, lamenting how true artistry was increasingly sidelined by commercial interests. Gravity Eyelids even is a slow-building track that starts with a soft, almost trip-hop feel before evolving into a massive wall of sound. The song explored feelings of paralysis and fear, both physically and emotionally, as suggested by its title and languid pace. Wedding Nails is an instrumental track with an aggressive metallic edge to it. It served as a high-energy break from the album's more introspective songs. Though it is an instrumental, the aggressive tone and title suggested tension, conflict, and frustration. Prodigal is a musical rock track with a strong chorus and reflective mood that blended soft verses with a harder edge in the chorus. The lyrics depicted a man returning home, possibly repentant for past mistakes. It dealt with the themes of regret and redemption. Point 3 is a hypnotic near-instrumental track led by a pulsating bass line and atmospheric textures, building into an orchestral crescendo. The sparse lyrics, the song feels more like an instrumental reflection, but evoking a sense of space and solitude. The Creator Has a Master Tape is a dark and menacing track, and it has an industrial edge with disjointed rhythms and eerie vocal effects. Now, the lyrics are cryptic, suggesting perhaps paranoia and control, possibly touching on surveillance or manipulation themes. Heart Attack and a Lay-By is a soft, melancholic ballad with lush harmonies and quite minimal instrumentation. This heartbreaking song reflects on a man facing his own mortality, possibly reflecting on a moment of regret or isolation at the end of life. Strip the Soul is a dark and heavy track with grinding guitar riffs and quite a disturbing, dissonant melody to it. The song explores the idea of psychological and emotional stripping down, possibly reflecting the dehumanization of individuals in today's modern society. Collapse the Light into Earth is a slow orchestral closer, featuring piano and a simple repeated refrain that builds into a cathartic conclusion. The song offers a sense of emotional closure, touching on themes of letting go and the acceptance of loss. Now, in Absentia received an generally positive critical reception upon its release, with many praising its ambitious scope and depth, while others were more sceptical about its heavier direction. Classic Rock magazine lauded the album for its bold fusion of progressive rock and metal, calling it a masterstroke and praising Wilson's growth as a songwriter. All Music gave the album high marks, noting that it transcends its influences and balances heaviness with emotional depth. Mojo highlighted the album's emotional range, calling it an absorbing listen from start to finish, with a haunting cinematic quality. Pitchfork criticised the album, though, for its heavier direction, suggesting that the metal influences overshadowed the band's subtlety, making parts of the record feel overwrought and bloated. Enemy found the album too dark and ponderous, describing it as intelligent but cold, questioning its emotional accessibility. And The Guardian gave a lukewarm review, commenting that while the musicianship was impressive, the album's subject matter and tone were relentlessly bleak, which could alienate some listeners. All in all, though, In Absentia is a bold, complex album that skillfully blends progressive rock, metal, and that deep emotional depth. For fans of provoking, intricately crafted music, it's a must listen. That thematic darkness may not appeal to everyone, but its musical innovation and evocative storytelling do make it an essential addition to any serious album collection. Now, if you're a fan of progressive rock or simply enjoy exploring the music that delves into the darker aspects of the human experience, this album is well worth owning. If you are unsure, it's certainly worth a full listen on a streaming service first, just to appreciate the craft before making a final decision to purchase. Thank you to my subscribers and new viewers for watching this video. You are simply amazing, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like, share and subscribe if you have, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.